How did Ray Allen meet Delegate Terry Austin?
Terry came to the theater to tour it, and I happened to be standing. I was standing down by our office in the basement, and he came by, and I introduced myself and told him about the history of the Virginia Opera, and showed him some old posters, had Dan Seals on it and different ones, and we talked sports a little bit. He's a basketball player.
Yep,
I was a basketball coach
in Clifton Forge.
Yeah.
In high school.
Yeah.
Yep. I can't remember who we brought that day, Ray. We brought someone from the state by to tour the theater, and you happened to be here.
Yeah, that's how we connected, and then
he started telling me a little bit of the history of how he had started Appalfolks, and it spurred my interest, and I went back and did a little research and decided that I would submit for a commending resolution because it was 25 years.
And we certainly appreciate that too, because we've struggled to keep it alive because the theater was closed for 5 years for renovations, and during that time we had shows at the campground, at Buckhorn Campground, and over here at the amphitheater, but beside the theater. So we kept it alive.
But Ray, the whole thing would not have happened had you not worked with RC Theaters to...
Well, RC Theaters, I wrote letters asking for a donation of the theater to Appalfolks beginning in like 89 for a couple of years, and finally they decided to donate the theater to Appalfolks to make it a performing arts theater, and that was in 1991. So we took ownership on December 20, 1991, and of course it took us till May, and one of your buddies was at the first performance. That was Bob Goodlatte.
Oh, Bob was here.
He was running for office.
I was at an event last night with Bob, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
He was running for office, and Bo Trumbo, who
okay.
helped us with theater, get a $30,000 grant from the state.
Right.
Bo was there, and he came up and introduced me to Bob Goodlatte, and he was here. The announcers were here, and we were given a free performance in May of 1992.
And Wayne Anderson of RC Theaters was an integral part of working with you in the first place. So he's a Millboro resident.
Wayne Anderson was the one who handed me the keys about where we're standing here to the theater in December of 1991 when we took ownership. And we owned the theater for 12 years and then donated it to the town of Clifton Forge in 2003. We put over $200,000 worth of improvements to turn it from a twin cinema into a performing arts facility. But we realized that we didn't have the wherewithal to complete the job during our lifetimes at the rate we were going, but the town had told us they could get funding. So in exchange for a contract to continue programming and to have a free office here in the theater, we signed that and deeded the theater over to the town. So that's how it's all come about.
I tell you, I brought Mary Ray Carter by that day, Ray. I'd had Mary Ray with a delegation of people from Clifton Forge and Covington talking about what we could do to revive the area at a meeting at Dabney Lancaster. Mary Ray is the Deputy Secretary to the Secretary of Commerce and Trade in the Commonwealth, and she's for rural development. So we were talking about the boutique hotel and other things that the community has interest in. So we brought her by to tour the theater that day. And previously I had brought by Rita McClenny. I was at the hotel at the homestead at a meeting, and Rita was there. And Rita is the Director of Tourism for the Commonwealth. So I brought Rita down, and at that time there was scaffolding here and the theater was under construction. And Rita toured it, and she was so impressed. She went back to Richmond and wrote a grant, and we got a $150,000 marketing grant for the theater. Last year, right at about the time the theater opened up, we got that marketing grant. So everyone that I brought to this facility from the state agency has been so impressed with it, and impressed not only with the theater, but the community as a whole. The arts we have here, the outdoor amphitheater, the arts center, everybody in the Commonwealth is just so impressed with the diversity in the community. So very nice.
This proscenium arch here had a 24 2-inch wall, 2-foot wall separating the stage here from this area here, so we couldn't do performances.
Right.
So I tried to get people to help and donate their time to tear it down without destroying any of the proscenium arch or anything.
Right.
And $2,800 was the lowest bid I got. And of course, we were a grassroots organization. We just didn't have that kind of money. So I went to Dale Muterspa, who used to be sheriff of the county, and he's a longtime member of the announcers. And Dale got the Sharon Fire Station to come in. We put scaffolding up, and they took chainsaws and cut little chunks out of that wall from the top down, removed the whole wall for $50. $50